Hello friends, let's make another yarn dyeing video. This week we are doing something really exclusive. We are going to dye cashmere. Now these gorgeous teeny tiny balls, this is only 25 grams of yarn in each. And it is pure cashmere. Can you see that? It's pure cashmere in these three, and it's I think 115 meters in each, so I've got 345 meters, and my plan is to make a cowl out of this, so I think that will be enough, fingers crossed. But first we're going to dye them. I'm not sure what color to dye just yet. I'll figure that out while I'm soaking them, but yeah, this is what we're dyeing today. So I'm going to make some hanks out of these, and then we'll get on with the soaking. I have 3 small little skeins of cashmere ready. I've added the reusable zip ties. You can find these on Amazon. Very handy. And we're getting ready to soak. I got my small soaking tub. I got a measuring cup with 2 liters of cold water. And I got my citric acid. Now this is only 75 grams. So I'm not going to need a lot. Just maybe half a tablespoon. And I'm adding in the water. Like so. And we are going to tuck our yarn in to soak it. I'm just gonna push it down to make sure it gets proper wet. So we don't want any dry fibers. Sorry, you just got a close-up of my arm, didn't you? Sorry about that. Okay, there we go. Yarn is going to soak. I'm going to let it sit for half an hour maybe, and figure out what color I'm going to dye it. Getting ready to dye. And what I've decided to do is I'm going to attempt to dye the Jurassic World Rebirth colorway again, because I really love that one. So we got our soaked yarn here. I got my dyeing pan here. I added a little bit more of citric acid into that, because what I'm going to do today is I'm going to reuse the same water that I soaked the yarn in. I've got my dye tray ready to go, old yogurt container with cold water and a spoon to poke the yarn, some gloves, protection for my airways. I don't want to breathe in any of this fine powder. And the dyes we are using today are Jacquard acid dyes in Spruce and in Aztec gold. And it's the same, it's the same in both of these containers, but there's not a lot left in this small one, so I grabbed a larger one as well, and we'll see how far we get. So those are the 2 colors we're using, and I got a couple of teaspoons to grab the dye with, and as always, only use tools that you use only for dyeing. Don't use the same things that you have in your kitchen. Alright, so let's get going. I'm going to transfer the yarn and water into the pan, and we can start the dyeing process. I've transferred the yarn into the pan, and to make things easier I poured the soaking water into a measuring cup, because I may not be using all of it. I don't know if you saw that Jurassic video, but I want some of the yarn to poke up above the surface. So I'm going to do this. And I do believe I used about 1.4 liters last time. I think that's pretty much what I have added in here as well. And I'm just going to rinse my fingers a bit. So, and we can start dyeing. First of all, mask on as usual. And I'm just turning on the heat right away. And we are grabbing our green dye. And I'll just be sprinkling it here and there for starters. And we'll add more as we go, and I'll try to avoid the ridges I've made where the yarn pokes up from the water, so that I can add the gold color there without it getting contaminated by the green. Okay, let's start with that, and we shall see what we got. I'm using my spoon to help dissolve the dye. This green one is quite powerful. Okay, let's start there. I'm going to let it heat up, and I'll keep poking it and adding more dye as I see fit, and we will also be adding the gold in a little bit. But first we're letting the heating process get going. It's only been a couple of minutes, but it's already starting to heat up. I'm just going to poke it. There we go. Did I tell you how much this yarn costs? Cashmere is so expensive. It was around almost 19 euro/dollars. They're pretty much the same per ball, per 25 gram. So very expensive. And the way I handle that is when I'm ordering other yarn, I'll just add in one of these as well. And I'll just spread it out over several months, because it is too expensive to buy everything at once. At least it is for me. Maybe have a bigger wallet. Also, menopause has hit me really hard, which means wearing a cashmere sweater, yeah, no, that is not happening anytime soon. All right, we're just letting it heat up, and I'm going to, you know what, we could actually add in the gold now. Let's do that. Let's start there. And I'm poking the gold, trying not to touch the green too much so that I don't contaminate it with the green color. I just want it to go a little bit deeper into the yarn. This is what I'm doing this. Like so. I'm just going to let it sit and exhaust a little bit more, and then we'll see if I want to add in some more green, because as you can see there are lighter patches here and there, and I do want it to be mainly a deep green, but as you can see we also have a lot of green in the water still. So we're going to let it sit for a bit and exhaust a little bit more. And see if we need to add in a little bit more dye. I'm going to add a little bit more, especially along this side. I'm adding some more green. And over here as well. It's very close to boiling, which we do not want, so I'm going to turn down the heat. Just want it to be hot. I'm gently poking the yarn to make the dye dissolve properly and get into the fibers. But I'm also being careful because if I agitate it too much, it will felt, and we do not want that. I think we're getting quite close to what we're looking for now. I'm just grabbing a spoonful here and there from areas where I have a lot of dye. I'm just adding it into areas where it is a little bit lighter. I think I'm going to add a little bit more gold on this side. We have lost a little bit. I don't have too much left in this little container, so I'm just going to sprinkle directly from it. Like so. And I'm just going to let it sit on the heat and continue to exhaust the dye as much as possible. But it should be warm all over now, so I don't need to worry about that. So yeah, just waiting. It's boiling a little here and there, so I've actually turned off the heat completely now. And I'm not going to touch this anymore. I'm just going to set it aside to cool now, even though we do have a lot of excess dye in here. But since the pan is really hot, it is going to continue to exhaust, so I'm going to let it continue the exhausting process while cooling down. So that's up next, cooling down the yarn. And remember, it needs to be completely cool before we can rinse it. We are ready to rinse. The yarn has cooled down completely. It's a little hard to see. There we go. There is still some leftover color in the dye pot, but it has exhausted really nicely. I've added cold water to my rinsing tub, and I've added a splash of soak. You don't need to have soak. You can use dish soap, shampoo, whatever you fancy. I like soak. So I'm using that, and let's get started. And I'm just going to squeeze out some excess water. This looks very promising. There's not too much dye left in the pan. There we go. I'm just going to set that aside. I'm just going to use an old ice cream container to catch the yarn as I rinse it. And we are just dunking it like so. And I'm squeezing out the water. We're not wringing the yarn. We don't want to damage it. Just squeeze it. That is exactly what we want. Look at that. I am very pleased with that. Second skein. And squeezing out the water. Now with soap you don't need to rinse an extra time. Oh my lord, look at that. I am going to do it though, because I do have a little bit of green color in the rinsing tub, so I want to give it one more rinse. Get a little bit more of that excess dye out. But it's not a lot. Okay, one more rinse. Second rinse. I just added the skeins back in. I've got only cold water this time. Squeezing out the water again. Second skein. There we go, and the last one. And I'm happy with that. It's just the faintest light green hue in the water. And I'm not worried about that. Okay, there we go. There is our gorgeous yarn. Now we're going to hang it to dry and we'll see what we got once it's dried. Hey, you want to see my new cashmere babies? You are not ready for this. Look at those. Look at those. Look at those absolutely gorgeous little thingies. I am... Mwah! I'm in love. I'm in love. These are my babies. I need all the cashmere. It is so soft. Merino feels coarse in comparison. I cannot wait to wear this yarn. And I am gonna have to get my hands on some more cashmere, which is probably going to take me a million years to get all the cashmere that I want, because it is expensive, but so much fun to dye. Very easy. No issues of any kind. Took the dye so easily. And I mean, this result. This is happiness in a skein. I hope you enjoyed this week's video, and I hope you'll like and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you next time. Bye.
You got me feeling good, right by your side. Lost in every move, riding down your smile. Baby, hold me tight, let me trace your lies. Keep it low, cause you're dropping it down.